Alright, so from one of my other videos you saw that I took care of the orange side markers with Plasti Dip. This one is holding up really, really well. I did them, I'd have to see how many months ago, but with Plasti Dip obviously you have to redo them every once in a while. Instead of buying the overlays that change your side markers from orange to either clear, or I guess you'd have to replace them completely if you wanted clear, or black, I decided to use Plasti Dip, which it's not a big deal to me just because Plasti Dip's not hard, it's convenient, it's $5 a can, and I rather would have done that at the start than buy $40 or $60 overlays that just change them black. So like I said, this one's holding up pretty well. My car is filthy right now because it rained a couple days ago. But this one right here, you can see could stand to be redone. Just some little spots that get taken off by driving, the weather, the sun, washing my car, that kind of thing. Okay, so as you can see, this one is not in horrible shape everywhere. Just down here where there's some, what is the letters and numbers kind of embossed right here, and then also just right here. So what I'm going to end up doing is just making these sides as smooth as possible where it's starting to come up, so there isn't really an area coming up anymore. I'm just going to not really file it down, obviously not with a file, but just kind of with my finger. And then I'm going to tape everything off and I'm going to redo it. The only issue that this could create if you did too much would just be a thick shield of Plasti Dip, which obviously the thicker, in my opinion, the worse off. There's kind of a fine line between not doing enough and doing too much. So I'll have to end up doing a couple extra spots right here, a couple extra sprays I mean, rather than the whole thing, but I'll probably do the whole thing maybe once or twice, and then right here just kind of as needed. So I'm going to tape it off real fast and then I'll show you how to touch it up. Okay, so here's how I've decided to tape it off. The more room that you leave, the easier it's going to be to find a piece to peel up, and then it'll cut itself right here. If you leave a smaller room than this, I can guarantee you're going to have trouble actually finding a piece that you can get up. I probably should have left more room than this, but I really didn't want to up here because the light starts and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean this area just because I'm going to be rubbing it and getting the Plasti Dip off. And then I'm going to spray my Plasti Dip. I used some waterless car wash and I just cleaned around here. It probably would have been a good idea, honestly, to do it before I put the tape down, but I didn't even think about it. So now we're going to spray the Plasti Dip. Alright, so I'm gonna let that dry. I got the first coat. That was actually a pretty heavy first coat. It's best to do this when it's warm outside. Not super, super hot, but warm. It's like 83 or 84 right now. It's 10 in the morning, so it's plenty warm. You can do this in the cold. I've done it before in the cold, but you have to have either a heat gun or a blow dryer to be blowing it so it's gonna dry. Otherwise, it will take forever, if not like smudge up and smear and all that kind of stuff, which is no good. So you can see right here, there's a pretty heavy amount of spray, which doesn't really matter because that's what we're peeling off, but it's warm enough outside to where it's already drying, and the wet spots are kind of where it was a heavy spray, but again, that's what I'm going to be peeling off, so it doesn't matter. So you can see how quickly it dries. It's a matte finish. You can always get gloss. It's an overspray that goes over the actual colored Plasti Dip that you do, so you can do that if you want, but you can see the finish right here. It's matte, so it's already dry, and that was probably about 45 seconds or a minute ago that I sprayed that. The last thing I like to do, because I have all the coats I want, so before I take this off and start peeling, because I need this to dry, the last thing I like to do is just spray along the corners, because that's going to be the area in which I peel up in order to peel the whole thing off. So you want that to be pretty thick, otherwise you're going to have a heck of a time getting it off. And even when you do get it off, you're probably going to have some overspray or some stuff that didn't come off, and you'll have to either get a sponge or use your fingernail or something to get it off. So the last thing I like to do is just kind of spray along the edges. And it doesn't really matter how clean it is because it's going to be coming off. But I'm going to let that dry now, and that has given me a really thick border that's going to be a heck of a lot easier to peel up. Okay, so whenever I'm taking this paper off, you can see it's coming up, which is excellent. That means it either hasn't fully dried yet, or I just did enough on the paper and the car to have it kind of take itself off. So just be careful when you're taking it off that it doesn't go on the area that you want to keep. That is exactly what you want right there. Okay, this is going to be kind of tricky taking it off while I'm holding my camera, but when you take it off, you can either go with a razor blade and kind of cut out the area that you want to stay. I'm not going to do that just because I don't want to, but when you take it off, just do it kind of carefully, and it's going to kind of cut itself. So you can see it's cutting exactly where the line's at. Just slow and steady. Very therapeutic too. Alright, that's it. So it is good as new. Looks like the first time I did it, and that'll last, like I said, probably about 6 to 8 months, depending upon how rough you are in your car and kind of the elements outside that you're driving in, how often you wash your car. Just be aware of these when you are washing your car. Go a little bit easier on these areas. It's how you update your kind of weathered Plasti Dip.